Welcome back to the Search for Wellness, guys. Firstly, I would like to start off by thanking you from the bottom of my heart for being so supportive, for sharing, for liking, and for just following this amazing platform. I have one small tiny request to ask you guys of. For this season, if there is any episode or if there's all the episodes, whichever one it is that resonates with you, please, I ask you to share it with a loved one, somebody else who might be inspired by this information. Because at the end of the day, the whole reason why I am doing this is for one purpose and one purpose only, is to share as much of the wellness understandings of health and healing with as many people as I can. Thank you so much for joining in and tuning in. Welcome to The Search for Wellness, the podcast where we explore what it truly means to live a healthier, more fulfilling life. Each episode, we dive into inspiring stories, eye-opening conversations, and practical tools to help you nourish your mind, strengthen your body, and uplift your spirit. This is your space to learn, grow, and discover new ways to thrive one step at a time. Before I start this episode, I would also like to just step into something. I am not a medical doctor, and this information I am sharing with you today is not medical advice. However, it is advice that I genuinely believe in. There has been enough science to back it up. There has been enough research and studies to prove that this is something that works. Before I again go into the episode, why am I doing this? Who am I and why is it possible that I can talk about cancer and share this information? A lot of you may not know this and a lot of you may know this, but I was diagnosed with cancer 4 years ago myself. Exactly 4 years ago today, I actually had a radical hysterectomy. I was diagnosed with cervical cancer and I had to have a radical hysterectomy, which was actually done exactly 4 years ago from today. And I feel so blessed and so thankful to be alive and to be able to share this journey and this knowledge with you guys. So my heart is full of gratitude to be here 4 years later, super healthy and filled with so much knowledge that I want to impart on everyone. One of the other things that I wanted to share was that I had the hysterectomy. However, I never ended up having any more treatment after that. I kindly rejected the conventional method and I decided to go on a whirlwind of health and wellness and just understand what is happening in my body. I've shared a lot about my personal journey in one of my episodes in season 1, where I talk about my cancer journey. So if you'd like to know a little bit more about my cancer journey, then you can go and listen to that. But in these 4 years, I have learned a lot more. So in the last 2 years, since I recorded that episode, I have definitely grown a lot and I've learned a lot. So on to the episode for today. Today's episode, we're diving into a 3-part series of cancer and understanding your body better. How to avoid getting cancer, how to help yourself if you are already diagnosed with cancer, so how to heal from it, or how to even just support your body. Lastly, you can even be listening to this even if you don't have cancer, because Ivermectin, the drug that I'm going to be talking about today, is a parasite drug. So it can help you also prevent getting cancer, but can also help you prevent getting many other issues. I also give Ivermectin to my kids. So this is also a great episode you can share with your kids, and you can learn a little bit more about how you can do these parasite cleanses for your kids too. So the topic of discussion today is parasites. Most of us have heard of them, this term parasites. I'm pretty sure everybody knows about parasites. 80% of the people in the world have actually already had parasites, and the next 20% will definitely get them. You know, some people are asymptomatic. They live with parasites in their body and they have no symptoms. And some people have like a parasite overgrowth and can get many, many symptoms. I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into the symptoms. The types of parasites in humans you can get are, there are different types of parasites you can get. So you can get the microscopic single-celled parasites, and malaria is also a parasite. So you can get malaria, and malaria is a parasite. Then you can get the typical one that we know of, worms. Worms is also a parasite. And then you can get parasites on your skin and even on your hair. So lice is a parasite, mites is a parasite, ticks is a parasite, and fleas are a parasite. So parasites can affect your organs, it can affect your blood, it can affect your brain, it can affect your skin, it can affect your hair, it can affect many parts of your body. So these parasites are very hard to avoid and can come from many things such as contaminated foods and drinks, raw fish like sushi, insects, aka mosquitoes, walking barefoot in contaminated soil, having pets. They can even live in your body and grow very large in your gut. But they can also live in your brain or your skin and pretty much any organ in your body. The other thing that I didn't mention was that parasites are a living organism, but they need a host body to survive. So they can only survive in a host body. So AKA they need a human to survive or they need an animal to survive. What they do in our body, so they borrow nutrients, space, and blood from the host body. By the way, worms are parasites, lice are also parasites. So just to make a note of that. Some of the typical symptoms that you can be felt if you have parasites are bloating, gas, runny tummy, constipation, brain fog, lack of sleep, or feeling tired all the time. So if you're having, bloating, gas, a runny tummy, constipation, brain fog, a lack of sleep, or feeling tired all the time, you may be actually having parasites because what they're doing is they're zapping all the nutrients from your body at that moment. But now, new research is showing that parasites actually affect cancer growth. You must be wondering, how the hell does parasites have anything to do with cancer? Cancer relies on parasites just the same way as the parasites rely on our body. So cancer relies on sugar and glucose, and parasites also rely on sugar and glucose in our body. So they're both relying on absolutely the same thing. So this is why they're kind of like almost supporting each other to live together in harmony. But parasites can still cause cancer. Here is how. It can create chronic inflammation. So parasites can create chronic inflammation in the body. It can fuel tumor growths. We all know that inflammation is good, but having chronic inflammation is obviously definitely terrible for you. And it can put your body in a state of constant stress. Now, if your body is in a state of constant stress and you're in that fight or flight, then obviously you are more likely to get diagnosed with something like cancer. Even an autoimmune, it can even affect you in another way. You don't have to necessarily get cancer. You can even get an autoimmune. Parasites can also create that autoimmune condition because it also switches off your immune system. And this will end up suppressing the immune system, which is in return is going to lead to abnormal cells. So the minute your immune system switches off, then you're going to have abnormal cells growing in your body. And our defense mechanism of the body gets suppressed. And so everything that we are working towards, our defense mechanism, our immune system, it all gets suppressed. The parasites then can also end up damaging organs and tissues, which can raise the risk of cancer in those specific organs or those specific tissues. So once they infect or they end up damaging the gut or the intestines, then the chances of cancer growing in that space is much higher. Because if you look at it, if the immune system is compromised, then that's when the cancer starts to grow. But if the immune system is compromised, is working well, then the cancer can't grow. So if you remove the parasites, then the immune system starts working well, hence why the cancer doesn't grow. So hopefully you can see that the relevance and the importance of doing a regular detox protocol. And if you do have cancer, then you definitely want to do this detox protocol. But even if you don't, even if you have younger children, even if you have pets in the house, anybody can actually do these protocols. For this specific episode, I will be talking more about clearing the parasites in the body using something called Ivermectin. I don't know if many of you have heard of Ivermectin, but it is this miracle drug. Honestly, this thing is a game changer. Did you know one of the world's most important medicines came from a handful of soil? So Ivermectin actually came from a handful of soil. In the 1970s, a Japanese scientist called Dr. Satoshi Omura collected a soil sample near a golf course in Kawana, Japan. Inside it, he discovered a bacterium. So he discovered a certain type of bacteria that was growing inside this soil sample in Japan. From this tiny organism, researchers developed Ivermectin, a drug that would change the world. Ivermectin went on to save millions from parasites and diseases. Omura and William Campbell even won a Nobel Prize in 2015 for discovering this amazing drug. This just goes to show that proof that sometimes the biggest breakthroughs come through the smallest things, even a scoop of soil. Ivermectin is widely used in humans and in animals. It specifically is used in animals, like in the US and stuff. You can buy it on Amazon online and you can use it in a paste form. And it's actually used for horses, it's used for cows, it's used for dogs, it's used for many living organisms. And I know it sounds gross and you're like, well, that's like for animals. So why are we using it? But I mean, we're all the same species at the end of the day, right? In humans, ivermectin is FDA approved and it can treat parasite infections. Ivermectin and cancer research. So here's some of the research that has been done using ivermectin and cancer. Some lab studies show that ivermectin can interfere with cancer cell growth by targeting specific pathways. It may also help trigger apoptosis. So apoptosis is cell death in certain tumor cells and reduce tumor blood vessel growth. Researchers are studying it for cancer like breast, ovarian, prostate, and glioblastoma. Glioblastoma is brain cancer. Anti-cancer mechanisms. Laboratory studies on cancer cells and animal models have shown that ivermectin has several properties that could potentially fight cancer, including cell death. Ivermectin can trigger and program cell death that we spoke about already, apoptosis, inhibit proliferation and metastasis. So it can actually slow down the growth of cancer cells. So it can inhibit metastasization. So it can stop the body from creating and metastasizing and growing more and more cancer cells. Targeting cancer stem cells. This is a really important point to notice, is that when we do conventional treatment, so when we do radiation or when we do chemo, we end up killing the cancer cells that are circulating around the body. However, cancer, chemo and radiation don't affect the stem cells. If you take this drug, especially if you are doing chemo and radiation and you have cleaned out all the other cells, I would highly recommend taking ivermectin and doing this ivermectin course right after, because ivermectin, and there's enough studies and science that has proved that it can actually affect the cancer cells that are living in your stem cells. So I'm going to read that again. Targeting cancer stem cells. Some research suggests ivermectin can selectively target and kill cancer stem cells, which are thought to be responsible for tumor initiations, progressions, and reoccurrence. So to avoid reoccurrence, this would be also highly recommended. Enhancing other treatments. Ivermectin may help make drug-resistant cancer cells more sensitive to chemotherapy and can potentially enhance the effectiveness of immunotherapy by making tumors more visible to the immune system. Broad-spectrum effects. Studies have shown these effects in various types of cancer. So this actually has been shown not in just one specific type of cancer. This is in several different types of cancer. Now, I know what you must be thinking right now. Is this all true? Honestly, I have fact-checked this. I have done my research, but if you would like to, honestly, you can do your research too. The beauty about all of this is that we can Google all of this today. We can actually do our own research. We can become as informative as we would like to become about this stuff. Let me be totally honest with you. I definitely believe that this does work, okay? Because I have personally taken it. I have personally recommended it in my coaching to a few of my clients, and I have physically seen people's cancers reverse and them going into remission just by doing this ivermectin protocol. So I promise you, it definitely works. And the best thing about all of this is there are no side effects. The other thing that's also amazing about ivermectin is it is super cheap. It's not even expensive. It's not even an expensive drug. So you don't have to pay a lot of money for it. It's a miracle. It is actually a miracle drug. This is why I wanted to share this information with all of you today. So this protocol that I'm going to share with you today is a regular protocol though. However, the main protocol for cancer, I can only share in my coaching sessions. So if you'd like to know the full cancer coaching protocol for ivermectin, then reach out to me for a coaching session, and through my coaching session, I can share that with you. But the one I'm going to share with you today is just a basic one that I use with my family, I use with my kids. This podcast was created to remind you that we are all on this wellness journey together. If you're enjoying these conversations here, I'd love for you to subscribe, share, and spread this love. Your support means the world to us, and it really helps this community grow. With gratitude, lots and lots of love always. So let's go into it. So for cancer, the protocol is a bit more intense and using a few more supplements such as liver supports, milk thistles, febendazole. Febendazole is also another dewormer, CBD oil, curcumin, and high-dose vitamin D. That protocol can only be shared during my cancer coaching session, like I said. Some things to note that ivermectin is a fat soluble. So the first thing to note is that you need to take it with food because it will only absorb and slow down and absorb into the body properly if you take it with food. So it is a 5-day protocol. So it's a very simple protocol. It's a 5-day protocol. Day 1, you take 12 mg. So you get one of the small pills. You can get either 2 6 mg pills or you can get one small 12 mg pill. And you need to avoid eating very heavy meals and you need to completely avoid alcohol. So do not take any alcohol with this. So you take your ivermectin on the first day and then you take your ivermectin on the second day and then you take another 12 mg on day 3. The only symptoms you may feel is a little bit more tired, a little bit more sleepier, which is again okay because then you know your body is resting, it's recovering, it's doing what it's supposed to do. And for the kids, what I do is I give half of this dose. So instead of doing 3 days for my boys, I do 2 days. And for my daughter, because she's much younger, I only give her for 1 day and I only give her 6 mg for 1 day. After that, so that's day 1, ivermectin. Day 2, ivermectin. Day 3, ivermectin. Now on day 4, you want to take a binder because what you've done is you've killed these parasites, but they're dead and they're still in your body. So you really don't want to keep dead things in your body, do you? So you need to take a binder. The binder that I usually take and I give my kids is activated charcoal, but you can take even modified citrus pectin, you can even take zeolite, or you can even take clay. And then you take the binder on day 4, and then you take the binder on day 5. And then, you're done. And you can do this every 3 months. So I do it every 3 months. This is a protocol I do with my kids every 3 months. I do it with my family every 3 months. Now you might ask me and you might wonder, well, then why don't I just take that one, we get that in Kenya, we usually get this one parasite cleanse medicine. It's called Zental, which is actually albendazole. It is actually really harsh on the gut and it's really harsh on the system. Now, the difference between taking ivermectin is that it's actually very kind to your gut and it's very kind to the good bacteria in your gut. Whereas something like albendazole or Zental, it is so strong, it's even going to affect the good bacteria and it's going to wipe out everything. So I would highly recommend staying away from that and doing this protocol instead. So doctors still prescribe Zental when they know that worms are definitely confirmed, especially tapeworms. So that's when they definitely give it to you. For simple prevention, I prefer using ivermectin. And if you want to use something even more natural, then, you can actually use wormwood. And I'm going to add some more stuff in the content of what I use. And I actually take the herbs while I do the ivermectin protocol. The other thing also, just to let you know that not all parasites get affected by taking ivermectin. So certain parasites actually don't work with ivermectin and you may have to take other stuff. So that's the reason why I take these herbs too. So some of the herbs that I do take are wormwood, I take clove, and I take black walnut. They have been used for centuries and honestly, they're super effective also and very simple to take. So you can even take that. It might be a better option for you. The other thing that I actually didn't step into is that if you have rosacea, acne, eczema, psoriasis, that could also be related to parasites. So you can actually get an ivermectin cream and you can actually specifically put that on your face. You can use it tropically and that could help also. So I hope that this stuff has been informative. I hope that this has been helpful. And this was just part 1 of the episode. And I just wanted to share this insightful information with you because I think that, what is the point of me gaining all this knowledge and not being able to share it? So I hope you you do listen in and you do like it. And if there's anything, remember you can send me a message, just write something down in the comments below. Let's keep this as interactive. Let's keep this as engaging as possible. I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear if you've ever done this before. I want to know more from you guys. So let me know. Lots and lots of love. Take care. Bye.